Did it again, 2 weeks since the last video, but you know what? A lot has happened, including the Tinley NARBC. Let's get right into it. What's going on, everybody? Jim with Straight Blast Pythons. Pardon me looking like a bum. I've been off work for the last 2 weeks, so I need to shave, I need a haircut, I get it. This is what you're getting for maybe the next video or two, so let's just roll with it. So my family and I just got back from about a 2-week trip. Part of that trip was the Tinley NARBC, but a lot of other stuff was going on at the same time. We'll cover that towards the end of the video, but I do want to start out with what I think most of you guys care more about is the actual industry stuff and the NARBC itself. So this in no way was the first Tinley we've been to, but it was our first March Tinley. And I make that distinction because up until this point, I've pretty much been told that there's a big difference between the March and October Tinleys based on the overall feel of the event, that October is more towards, the hatchlings and the new animals, where March is more networking. I can't say that I personally noticed as big of a difference, but it might also just be being newer to the industry, the sheer size and scale of Tinley. It felt similar to me, although I will say it was busier than any of the other Tinleys we've been to so far. That said, our Tinley experience has been through the COVID timeframe, so this might just be a return to the normal. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out when we're there in October. So everybody we met there was awesome. Got to actually put a lot of face-to-face time with people that I've only talked to online, seen in lives, watched podcasts. Some of these people, I've been watching their stuff for a while, so it was really cool to actually get to meet them in person. You really can't describe being at a Tinley show. It is so busy, so crowded, so many breeders. Every aspect of the industry is represented. You really have to go experience it yourself to truly understand it. And I really do encourage anybody who's thinking about it, take the trip. It's far more than worth it. By far, in my opinion, the best reptile show in the country, at least from the ones that we've experienced. One thing I do really want to mention, though, was the sense of community. It was definitely present there at Tinley that you see in a different way. So anybody who just kind of follows the online podcasts, the lives, all the YouTubers, I mean, obviously, we're trying to be part of that community. But for those of you who only follow the community online, there's drama. I mean, that's social media, that's the internet, you're going to get it no matter what. But that really doesn't exist at the show. You got your onesie-twosies, people walking around, putting like cards on tables of people breeding spiders that are trying to push people away, and yes, we did see that. But as a generalization, everybody there is there with the same goal, and it's to better our community. And it's something you don't really experience if all you're part of is the online social media aspect. The biggest community example that I can give actually came from the US ARC auction after the show on Saturday. Now, this was the first time my wife and I had actually attended an auction, and while we're on that topic, Straight Blast Pythons and Garden of Garters and Geckos have officially both joined the US ARC, so we are now members. Kind of sorry we waited so long to do it, but we're now part of it. Again, first time we attended the auction, and honestly, I was kind of impressed. At first, I thought it was really neat. I didn't realize that they did a whole silent auction there as well. We bid on a whole bunch of stuff, got outbid on everything. It is what it is. What really stood out to me from that auction was about partway through, they stopped. And regardless of what your opinions are on Brian Barczyk, because I know there's some mixed ones, the community really showed its true colors. If you were at the show, you noticed a lot of people were wearing the purple Brian's Army wristbands, and I think Mike Wilbanks was the one who was providing them from his table. I could be wrong on that, but a lot of people, ourselves included, were walking around with them. It was to be showing our support of Brian Barczyk. If you don't know who he is, I don't know what you're really doing in this industry, but regardless of your opinions on him, because I know there are mixed, he's battling some pretty tough cancer right now, and the community as a whole came together to show support for him and for his family. He has contributed so much and brought so many people into this hobby, ourselves included. Like, his videos are what got my wife really into the reptiles, which ultimately snowballed to bring what we have going on behind us here in existence. So while I've never personally met the man, we owe our part and our stake in the hobby to him. And that's something that many, many other people can say. It's a shared experience throughout the community. So when we were at that auction, and middle of the auction, they decided to auction off a black version of those purple wristbands. That wristband sold for a combined total of $57,000, if I remember the number correctly. And that wasn't just from one person. The winning bid was like right around $15,000, and everyone just kept stacking on. 1,000 here, 2,000 here, and coming from all different parts of the community, showing support for Brian because those funds were going to support his family, kind of help his legacy that he has left behind. If that doesn't show the strength of unity that this community has, I don't know what does. And it's something that I'm honestly glad to be a part of, and you really can't experience in a lot of other places. I mean, I've been part of martial arts communities, car communities, all kinds of things, and the level of, again, to use the word unity or cohesion, I don't really know what else to use, that you see here in the reptile industry is something honestly unmatched. It's really impressive, and it honestly kind of left an extremely positive impact on me and my wife, and we are even more so glad to be a part of it. But summing it up, the auction was awesome. Lots of money was raised, both for US Arc and for Brian. We had a good time, got outbid on everything. Is what it is, you know. So people say you can't go to Tinley and not bring something home. My wife and I went, you know, with this move we got coming up, we were both saying, hey, no animals. We're going to have enough of a hard time moving our collection as it is. We're not going to add to that. That didn't last. We were over there. Honestly, we didn't have funds for anything too crazy, but I found a key piece to the puzzle for what we're looking to do here with straight blast pythons, and I just couldn't pass it up. It was too good of a deal. While it's nowhere near as crazy as some of the other stuff you've seen coming from Tinley, we did pick up a hypogenetic stripe male from Jeff Hardwick Reptiles, and to be honest, that was the missing link. I was trying to look for one of those this year to begin with. Could not pass this boy up. He's a good example of both genetic stripe. He's got a lot of pattern on the side, which is going to translate well to our G-Stripe Clown project down the line. Good, clean example of hypo. And he's going to help us push not only to obviously hypo G-Stripe Clowns, but combine him with our VPI Xanthic Clown project to push for the true ghost G-Stripe Clown, which is our ultimate goal in that project, you know, probably a decade from now at this point, but that's where we're trying to actually shoot for. This made it possible. So while it was not the most expensive or impressive animal from the show, it was a key piece to what we're looking to do. So moving past Tinley, we were gone for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and you know, Tinley's only a weekend event, so what else were we doing? Talked in previous video, we got a move coming up here this summer, and we were house shopping. And for those who don't know, we actually are planning on moving back to Illinois. It's going to be the Chicagoland area. For those that are out there, you know, we're going to be local to you guys here soon, and we put an offer on a house in the New Lenox area. That offer was accepted, so we'll be closing here in a couple weeks. Big news, big house, 3,100 square feet, and it's going to allow us the space that we need to expand both of our collections, because right now both myself and my wife are extremely limited to what we can do by space, and this is going to open up a ton of opportunities. It's going to allow us to expand to where we want to go in the next couple of years, and really looking forward to it. Going to go ahead and document both the move over there as well as how we plan to set up the reptile rooms. And that said, the last thing that I want to talk about that happened, and I really don't know if it's really best to put it in this video because, you know, it just had such a positive view of the community at Tinley. And I'm going to point this out because it really was part of our trip. It was the culminating event for us getting home. But it's kind of a rant. I'm going to end on it. I don't like ending on a negative note, but we're going to do it this time. So despite everything I said earlier about us having an awesome community, and I truly think we do, there's never not bad apples. And I'm not going to name names in this, but while we were gone, an associate of ours, or I should say an associate of my wife's, who she worked with, who's also a gecko keeper and smaller breeder, had some problems, had to get rid of their collection, and you know, we agreed to take the collection in. Not only does it help her out, but it phenomenally expands the size of Garden of Garters and Geckos, so it was a win-win situation. The problem with that is what came next. Typically, if we were here while that was happening, we would have brought a ton of totes over to them, checked out all the animals, you know, made sure they were clean, healthy, good to go, put them in our own containers, transported them home for quarantine. We were out of town, that couldn't happen. We kind of arranged a situation where they were going to bring the animals to our house. They dropped them off while we were gone on Tuesday following the NARBC. We found out from another friend of ours who was coming by to take care of our reptiles while we were gone that every one of those containers was infested, and I mean infested, with German cockroaches. Any of you guys who've ever had to deal with German cockroaches know how bad that can be. So we had 31 totes full of geckos and German cockroaches sitting in our living room for the better part of a week before our friends moved them out, to try to prevent an infestation. So we got home and our trip ended with us scrambling to get 31 geckos out of these infested totes, cleaned up into small temporary bins till we can figure out what to do with them. We do plan on keeping all of them. They all seem healthy enough, but they're going to be quarantined for an undetermined amount of time at this point, just because we don't know if there's any sort of diseases that they could have picked up from the roaches themselves. I've kind of asked around in a couple of Discords and didn't really get much information. So yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. We've put down traps and poison and bait in the house. I'm hoping that we were lucky enough that they stuck to the humid enclosures that they were in to begin with. We literally threw away thousands and thousands of dollars worth of glass enclosures, lighting, everything like that, because they got up into the vents, into every last part of it. None of that stuff was salvageable if we wanted to keep roaches out of our house. And this is kind of a husbandry rant more than a rant on what happened. In my opinion, if you're going to keep animals, you need to take care of them properly and not have them in conditions like that. I don't even know. I don't know what else to say about that. Either way, kind of viewing it as a rescue in multiple levels right now. We just took in 31 geckos. Anybody who's into New Caledonians, please follow my wife at Garden of Garters and Geckos on Instagram. She's going to be posting everything that we got. We got lily whites, charcoals, outside of crusteds, picked up a chameleon gecko, lychees, some gargs. If you're into that stuff, give her a follow. All I'm saying is please take care of your animals, treat them right. If you have animals and you don't know what you're doing, find somebody who does and learn. And if you don't have any reptiles yet, please learn the husbandry and be sure that you can take care of these animals before you actually buy them. I don't know the situation from this other individual's home life. I don't know whether they were having infestation issues in their house, which obviously they had to have been based on what we saw there. But I was honestly kind of appalled that they just dumped these off in our living room full of roaches. And that's a combination of husbandry issues. That's a general, just being a good person issues. I don't know. I know I'm kind of just rambling at this point in time, but it just blows my mind that somebody would do that. Anyway, getting off that rant, summing everything up from the last 2 weeks, Tinley NARBC was awesome. Looking forward to going back again in October. Picked up a Hypo G-Stripe boy that's going to make big impact on our project over the next few years. Found a new house, be moving here in the next few months. With that said, I'm kind of going to go ahead and make the decision to stop pairing. I don't really see the point of continuing and to keep stressing out the animals through pairing when they're just going to get stressed out for a move and probably reabsorb anyway. Anybody who has moved mid-breeding season, if you got a different opinion on that, shoot me a message, let me know, because I don't know if it's worth it. I really don't want to stress out the animals any more than I have to, and it's about to get chaotic anyway, so it's probably going to put an early end to our season. Probably not going to get even half of what we wanted to clutch-wise, but you know what? It's going to set us up better for the future and go from there. All that said, I'm going to shut up now. Thank you guys for sticking around with me. Thank you guys for being an awesome community, and I'll see you next time.